Scene 2, take 1, turkey basting.
This is turkey basting, everybody. I hope you got that.
Turkey basting. Hi, I'm Genevieve Ko, senior editor at the New York Times, and I'm here with Padma Lakshmi.
Hello.
The author, activist, and of course the host of Taste the Nation and Top Chef. And today we're lucky enough to have her here in our New York Times studio kitchen to show us how she makes her Thanksgiving turkey. Padma, you're such an accomplished cook and you have so many amazing flavors and seasonings in all of your food. I'd love to hear more about how you came up with this turkey recipe.
You know, it was honestly just whatever I had in my pantry or in my fridge drawer at the time. I didn't grow up cooking meat, and then when I started cooking my own turkey, I just experimented over the years. This is a very simple recipe which has worked for me and is really easy to do. The trick is in the brining in buttermilk, which has more enzymes, and I season that buttermilk. But it's also just a very low and slow roasted turkey. Also because it fits my life. You know, I want the oven space to cook all the other things for Thanksgiving I love making. I actually cook this overnight, very, very slowly. Very late I start it, and then I get up very early. But
And I've made a lot of turkeys, but this is by far one of the most delicious I've ever had.
Thank you.
You managed to get the meat so juicy and tender and flavorful, but also we're going to make your gravy at the end with all of the fruits and vegetables that you put in the pan, and it comes out as this delicious apple gravy, and it's just so unique and so well spiced.
I love gravy. I love it on stuffing. I make a ton extra for turkey pot pie.
It does make a lot of gravy, which is perfect.
Yeah,
which is delicious.
And that's what it is. It's you know, to save the pan drippings and do it is great, but when you have fruit that's breaking down, it gives your gravy a lot of body and a lot of flavor. We love a flavorful turkey.
Yeah, so many great flavors we have going on. It's really delicious. Are you ready to get started? Let's
get
cooking.
Let's go.
All right.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to roast the peppercorns. I have some whole peppercorns here, just under a quarter cup, okay? When you use whole spices, it's nice to heat it up so that the oils get released within the pod or seed or peppercorn. That is what's going to give you the flavor. You're going to start to smell it in a second. And just put it in a mortar and pestle there. So you're just going to break it up. You don't have to be precious about this. That's so that the oils will get into our soap.
Perfect.
So I'm using about that much, whatever the heck that is. Then we're using some bay leaves.
And these are fresh ones, right?
They're fresh bay leaves. I prefer fresh bay leaves, and I'm just, again, ripping them to release the natural oil in the bay leaf. And then I like to use a coarse sea salt and sugar.
So I think it's so interesting that you add sugar to your brine too. What is the reasoning for that?
I do, because it makes the meat juicier and sweeter, and it complements the apples, and it balances the salt. And that's all that's going in your brine.
Perfect.
And then we're using,
start getting this in here?
Yes, buttermilk. I like buttermilk. If you can find non-homogenized buttermilk, even better, like at your farmer's markets. If you can't, don't worry. So you just want to stir this. Now, I'm being really elegant for you New York Times people, but I have to be honest, in my house I would roll up my sleeve and do this with my hand. Because cooking with your hands as much as possible gives you a sensorial, tactile relationship with your food. It also gives you, your fingertips will give you information that this whisk may not. For instance, you can feel when the grains of salt are dissolving in the buttermilk. And then, you know, to be honest, you can get one of these fancy brining bags, which are great. You can also use a clean trash bag that is not deodorized or fragrance or anything like that. Right. So we're just going to pour.
Oh, did I miss?
No, I'm just making sure I have a handle on the back of it. You can use this part, but you can also just twist this and spin it. And then here's the important part. You can do it in any big pot, like a pasta pot. And it's really important that it be wide enough, of course, to fit the turkey, but not so wide that the turkey's on its side, because it's the legs that need tenderizing the most. and just
great.
let that lovely bird swim and all that. You know, it's like getting a full body moisture mask for that bird. Now we're going to prepare our pan for roasting. So again, we're going to roast some additional peppercorns.
And what is it about black peppercorns? They bring a little heat, obviously, but what is it about their flavor that you really like?
It's different than a chili pepper. It adds depth and it balances the fruit that we're going to add. That's why I like black pepper. I always like to layer both chili peppers and black pepper, but I find that black pepper has a different quality. So we're going to lay in our roasting pan Granny Smith apple, which gives it a little bit of tartness, and I also use Fuji or Honey Crisp because they're sweeter. And so you just want to put a bed of apples down.
And that's actually something that I think is pretty unique. So what is it that inspired you to actually roast the turkey on a bed of fruit and vegetables?
I wanted those sugars in the fruit to break down slowly. I wanted them to commingle with the pan drippings that are coming off of the bird. By the way, what I'm going to stuff the turkey with is also what I normally stuff my roast chicken with. It's not much different.
I also would love to know how you decided to add fennel, because it's such a unique flavor.
I love the anise flavored in parts, but I didn't want to add fennel seed or anything else to then take it into another direction. But fennel is a beautiful, gentle way that is present in many cultures. And then ginger, yes, of course. So we're going to use half of the ginger as a bed and half inside to perfume the cavity. And then I'm just using some stems of fresh thyme. Look how pretty. Wouldn't you want us to take a nap in that? Yes, so now we're going to drain the turkey.
Right,
yes?
Let's do it. So Padma, do you have any tips for people who don't have huge sinks?
Yes, you can do this in your bathtub.
Wow, okay.
Listen, there were times when I was filming Top Chef. And I was traveling with my daughter, and I didn't want her to have room service all the time, so I would make a makeshift kitchen with a hot plate in some hotels. There are some very famous hotels across the country that have stunk like curry because
cooking in the bathroom.
And the bathroom sink is too small, so we would just wash the pasta pot if we make.
Oh my God, that's
amazing.
amazing.
Because I wanted her to have wholesome food.
Sure.
Okay. So there is no graceful way to do this, and you want to take some paper towels and just pat her a little bit dry.
All right, so now we're ready to stuff the bird.
Okay, yes. This is also an incredibly special sensorial experience. Yes. So we're going to truss the bird.
Sounds good. So we're going to lift.
And then we're going to take it like so, and we're going to put it around the middle of the body, lay it down.
All right.
Okay, so you want to bring it around the joint where the leg meets the body, and then you're going to wrap it like this around the ankle. And I would even say you can do it twice, just for good measure. Tight.
Do you want the legs crisscross?
Yes, yes, thank you. You do need a buddy.
You do need a buddy, yeah.
And just seal it like that. And you can even go around if you want. Ta-da! And I'm just nestling her in her little beautiful bed. I'm gonna give her a nice little final massage. You can, if you want to, put butter under the skin, okay? That's the thing a lot of people like to do. I don't think this bird needs it, but there's been years where we've had people helping me in the kitchen who feel like they want that.
And how do you
You know who you are. But I don't care, it's fine. They've done it, it's been great with it, it's been great without it. I'll let you do what's right for your family. I'm gonna wash my hands again. Okay.
So we're gonna throw this in. Let's go in. So we have this oven super hot. The rack's on the bottom, yep.
Yes. All right.
So your workout?
Yes, definitely. Always bend. Use your knees. It's important to squat when you lift heavily like that. Okay, So we're gonna bake this at a high heat at about 450. We're gonna blast her for 20 or 30 minutes so she gets a nice tan. Again, that buttermilk will cause her skin to be splotchy, but what she lacks in outward beauty, she will gain in inner depth of flavor.
Padma, one of the things I love the most about your turkey recipe is that it just sits there in the oven covered with foil for hours. We're doing a 14-pound bird, so at about 4 hours, it's pretty much done. It's like this close, and we're just going to finish it with basting, right?
Right,
let's go
let's go and baste. You do want it to get a nice golden color, and it can be splotchy, as you can see. This is like looking like a little, slightly like a tie-dye bird, or perhaps, it is hyperpigmenting unevenly. But, it's what's on the inside with this turkey.
Right. Oh my God, the skin already looks so great.
You can turn it up, but if you turn it up, remember that you only want it there for a couple of minutes and you want to watch it. Once we basted the turkey, we let it go for about another 30 minutes. Took it out of the oven, let it rest, and as you can see, we are just decorating around the bird here.
And while you're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and get the gravy started.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna mash all these fruits and vegetables that have just gotten so tender. And I'm gonna take all of these pan drippings, and I'm pouring them into a colander, right?
Right.
So either a colander or a sieve that has really big holes so that the pulp can get through, but not the peppercorn. I'm gonna let that drip while I actually go ahead and start the roux as well. I actually got a chance to watch your new season of Taste the Nation, and the very first episode is actually about Thanksgiving, and specifically about Thanksgiving in the context of the indigenous community up in Cape Cod, and I'd love to hear more about it.
Taste the Nation has been a real labor of love, and more than anything, it's also been about finding out of a lot of elements of American food culture. Our history goes back on this land, of course, first and foremost to indigenous communities and the Native Americans, some of who are so involved and ingrained within our Thanksgiving mythology. It really is mythology. And the Wampanoag people, the Aquinnah and the Mashpee Wampanoag indigenous community of Cape Cod, Northern Ireland, Martha's Vineyard, are the Native Americans who are always fabled to be in that first Thanksgiving meal that we're so often told, going to school in this country. And so, probably they would have served deer. The only thing we do know about Thanksgiving, or that first Thanksgiving meal, we don't know if it was peaceful or kumbaya. We just know that it was probably a meeting of colonialists, and we know that 5 deer were brought. So probably the protein that would have been served traditionally is venison.
That's amazing. And now we've got our butter melted. We're just gonna add a little flour.
Yeah, you want to make sure you stir and that the flour gets cooked. So I wait till it gets a little bit of color, not too much, but just a little bit.
Great.
I'm gonna let you skim the fat. So I would save the fat that you're skimming, and I would use it to roast some vegetables.
Oh yeah, that's such a great idea.
And that way you're not wasting, but you're gonna get this incredible flavor. Okay.
I think that's good.
That's good.
Yum.
So today we're using Calvados, which is an apple brandy. I don't add a lot of brandy into my gravy. I just want a hint of it to give it a whiskey warmth in the back of your throat.
So,
and then you just want to let that cook down to the desired thickness, which should stick to the back of the spoon. And the gravy is really just the last thing, and you want to make sure that the gravy's hot and all your sides are hot from the oven. And that's it.
Awesome.
That's turkey and gravy. So we're going to just carve a little slice. Okay, kind of a big slice. Well, if we know it's juicy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so tender. I can really taste the brine, like all the seasonings from the brine.
And it's salted.
So great. Padma, thank you so much for taking the time to cook this whole turkey with us, to have a whole Thanksgiving feast for us, for sharing your turkey recipe with us. I hope you have such a happy Thanksgiving holiday.
You too. Thank you for asking me to come do this.
Oh, of course.
That's yummy.
It was really good.